as the crow flies.
Okay, so I want to welcome everybody to the second episode of We Watch Movies. Hopefully, we won't have too much dog chatter in the background. Sammy decided he was going to bark right when I got this started. But anyway, Steve, do you want to kick us off with one of yours that you watched? Or
Yeah, just talk about last weekend we saw Wolverine or Deadpool and Wolverine
oh, I
and
forgot about talking about
Long
that.
Legs. The Deadpool movie is really good. It's been a long time since I've ever laughed in a movie theater, and that was definitely pretty funny. Uh, so I really look forward to watching that again. Long Legs, on the other hand, it does what it wants to do. But I'm not the big. I don't know if I'll watch it again because it's just very disturbing. But anyway,
I've already pre-ordered it.
well, but besides those, only got like one or two movies. I'll just talk about. I watched Intrepid Punks. I got my Vinegar Syndrome order, and I got that. I watched that yesterday, and it's 99% cleaned up, but there's like a couple scenes that still got inserts of lower quality, but it's pretty fun movie. These they basically blackmail them to let a couple of these outlaw guys out, and then they join, and then the cops track them down, basically, and it's really ridiculous.
And it plays that
Yeah.
Intrepid Punks or whatever.
Yeah, they play the theme song a couple times during the whole movie. And there's a second one which is not as fun, but they included it since it was the sequel. And so there you go, Dana. Your turn.
Oh, is that all you're going to talk about?
Well, I'll talk about the last one here, but you
Okay.
talk
Well,
about yours.
since Steve talked about Vinegar Syndrome orders and what we got in, I did get the shot on video masterpiece, depends on who you ask, a blood cult, which was filmed in Oklahoma, and if anybody wants to argue with me about where it was filmed, watch the movie and watch the extras. They will say it's filmed in Oklahoma. So that's all I'm going to say about that part of it. But this has always been one of my favorite shot on video films, other than Blood Lake. Blood Cult and Blood Lake are two of my favorite shot on video movies. This one starts out with a bang because, and Steve, would you agree with me on this, that the murder at the beginning is very, very violent?
I hardly remember.
Okay. Well, basically, a sorority girl is in the shower. That's a typical slasher movie thing. And she gets stalked by this unknown killer at the time who basically hacks their way through the door, gets into the bathroom, and kills the girl very violently, hacks off her arm, and leaves a dog head medallion on the girl's body. So I'm not going to go into deep detail about this. Steve says that's good. But it's basically about a cult, a dog worshipping cult, that is collecting body parts from victims for some kind of a resurrection ceremony or something. But fun little movie. It's got quite a bit of gruesomeness in it. So if you've never seen Blood Cult, I'm not saying to go out and buy it. But definitely see if you can find a for free version somewhere. I'm sure one's floating around on YouTube, maybe Tubi or
Booby.
Something like that. No, not Booby, Tubi. But do you want me to continue talking about a few more, Steve? Okay, so another one I got in and I don't think I talked about this last time, was Risky Business. I got the Risky Business 4K in from Criterion. Well, actually, I got it from Amazon, but it is a Criterion release. Um, I told Steve, speaking of the 4K transfer, I was a little bit disappointed in the transfer for this. Didn't think it lived up to a lot of Criterion's other releases, but the movie's still great. Um, you know, Tom Cruise, his choices, outside the movie industry are kind of questionable nowadays, but in this movie, he's great. He looks good, and if you've ever been a Tom Cruise fan and you've not seen Risky Business, I urge you to watch it. Um, shall I continue, Steve?
Well, how many more do you have?
I'm just going to talk about the ones that I did for a couple of my streams, stuff that I had to watch for them. So about 5 more movies I'll talk about briefly.
Good God. Talk about a couple more.
Okay, well, I'll talk about the ones I did for Everybody Wants England, because I did a couple of those. And Steve actually came in on the last two I was, or the ones I was watching, the last one. So the Mole Man of Belmont Avenue from 2011 was one that I watched, and Robert Englund doesn't have a huge part in it, but he is a resident in this rundown apartment complex run by these two brothers who are stealing their electricity from the church next door. And the priest knows they're stealing electricity, and he kind of admonishes them for doing that. And he sees them like hooking up or hooking into the electricity at the church. And he says, you're going to have to quit doing that. But he doesn't say anything about calling the cops or, reporting anything like that. So basically, in this apartment complex, people's pets, dogs, cats, hamsters, and everything in between are disappearing because there's a mole man that's coming up out of the basement and or reaching through like vents and stuff and pulling people's little dogs and cats and stuff in there. And when the brothers find out about it, they're like, well, we got to do something about this, or people are going to leave our apartment complex. So it's basically about them fighting this mole man. And Robert Englund's character is kind of funny because he's older on this, but he's calling up a woman who he's planning on having sex with, and it's just so hilarious. The one scene where he's saying, well, you better be ready for me, and all this stuff. It's just really, really funny. I thought it was an entertaining little movie. Have you ever heard of the Mole Man of Belmont Avenue, Steve?
No.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
So the second one I watched for Everybody Wants England was Lake Placid, the final chapter from 2012. And I didn't even know there were any more Lake Placids, really. Maybe I knew there was a second Lake Placid, but this is Lake Placid, the final chapter. Not a bad little movie. It had some annoying people in it, but they got killed off pretty quickly, including one girl who has her head eaten off by one of the, what are they? Are they crocodiles or alligators?
I don't know.
I think they're crocodiles. But anyway, she's hanging upside down, and the gigantic crocodile comes and bites her head off. I didn't much care for the CG in it. Some of it looked pretty bad. And these were like super fast crocodiles. I've never seen any so quick. But a decent little movie, had decent acting in it. Robert Englund plays a poacher in it he's kind of on the fence as far as, is he a bad guy? Is he, does he want to help? Because he kind of goes back and forth. But it was an enjoyable performance from Robert Englund in the film. And I would recommend Lake Placid, the final chapter. I think there's another one. What is it called that I'm doing coming up? Lake Placid versus Anaconda. I don't know how good that one's gonna be,
Right.
but this one I suspect is probably better than what that one's gonna be. Um, but anyway, I'll turn it back over to you, Steve.
I finished up watching a movie I got. I used to watch it here and there on TNT back in the early 90s or so. It's called The Crippled Masters, and it's basically uh, two guys who actually have some physical issues. One's missing arms and the other has unusable legs, and they basically make it like the one dude who cuts off the dude's arms. Well, the another bad dude gets him and pours acid on his legs. So those guys do some training, and then they go back and fight the original bad dude that basically ordered them to cut the arms off and then poured acid on the other guy. So it's a weird movie, and then they actually made a few movies after this together with different I think different storylines, but it was interesting. Also, I watched or listened to the commentary a lot because they were just talking about random things and all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what it sounded like because I could hear some of
But
it.
yeah, it was fun. But then of course I dozed off because I'm very tired.
Yeah, and Steve's gonna have to go lay down soon, so I better get through
Well,
these
I'm
last.
rest and then go hopefully stay awake for a few hours, or I'll be up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Um, so, um, I almost talked about the wrong movie. So I've been doing this John Landis retrospective on the Deadites on Deck channel, and I basically I won't talk about Trading Places or Twilight Zone the movie. I'll just talk about one more movie because Into the Night from 1985 was the one that I had never seen of the three, and truth be told, I didn't rewatch the other two. But Into the Night has Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer starring in it, and Jeff Goldblum is he's a burnout aerospace engineer who can't sleep. He's a lot like Steve. He doesn't get enough sleep, and he finds out his wife is having an affair on him with one of her coworkers, who is male. It's not one of those types of movies, but and he just gets really depressed, and he just gets up out of bed because he can't sleep anyway one night, and just goes to the airport. And Michelle Pfeiffer is in the parking garage. She pulls up with this guy, her friend, and these guys, they remind me of terrorists or something. They attack and kill the guy she's with, and they try to kill her. And one of them is John Landis playing one of the bad guys, which was kind of funny. And he's a mute. I didn't realize that at first. He's a mute, so that's why he never says anything and just does a lot of hand motions and stuff like that in the movie. But so she sees Jeff Goldblum's car, and she just kind of like jumps in his car and is like, "You gotta get me out of here." So the whole movie is Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer's character trying to escape these bad guys and try to keep from getting killed by them, because Michelle Pfeiffer has some jewels that some stones or something that these guys want. But cool little movie, a lot of suspense and action in it, some comedy in it. And I really think Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Pfeiffer do a good job in the film. So if you haven't seen Into the Night, Uh, I would highly, highly recommend it. Um, it's one of those John Landis films. I don't know how it slipped under my radar because I've watched most of his stuff. But Steve, do you have any thoughts on Into the Night? I know you had seen it a long time ago, but
Yeah, I mean, I like it's pretty good, but I haven't seen it in years. He used to show a lot on cable channels.
okay. So, I guess. Hold on here. I hope this thing recorded all this. Okay, it did. So we got about 15 minutes worth of us talking about movies. Um, Steve was a little tired, so I'm not gonna like keep making him stay on here and say talk about more stuff, Steve. Um,
I hope to watch opera next weekend.
yeah, because Steve did get a notification that his opera had shipped from Severn, so.
So that's one thing I'm looking forward to.
And so we're going to get out of here, and hopefully we'll be back in a couple more weeks. Maybe I can talk Steve into doing one of these actually on video. I don't know.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen. But anyway, we're out of here, and we'll see everybody next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.